What's up? How good does the green screen look? Oh my god. I look a little bit red, but that's alright. What's up, y'all? Hello? You're a little quiet? No way I'm that quiet. Should be better. Should be better. The stash making a return. It's slowly, I suppose. Hi, Cory23. Oh my god. Can you believe it? Chiara, thank you for the gift to Floor. I appreciate you. Thank you, JJ, for the tier 1. Mountain Doofus for the prime. Gina for the tier 1 as well. The sweater's nice on you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. How are you? I just figured you got sunburnt. Maybe a little bit. I golfed. Are you underwater? No, I'm in the diary room. It's a Big Brother stream. Keep up. How are you guys? I feel like it's been a while since I streamed, but it really hasn't been. I guess I just don't count that last stream with my friends because I didn't talk to you guys. Thank you, Shinskes, for 9 months. Any fun gifts? I did. There's a King Boo LED behind me that you can't see because the green screen. Did your friends leave? Yes. It is just me in America. Back to basics. Just me. I'm sorry to disappoint. Excited for the podcast today? It's going to be there, Brenna. Brenna, I have a bit of beef with you, and this is not with you specifically, but you tweeted this, and a lot of people have tweeted it. I actually do want to talk about this because I think people are a little bit dense on this. A lot of people criticize Heisem for his psychoanalysis of the house guest, which I think is fair. I understand the criticism towards that. I get it. I don't mind it, really. I think it's just a Big Brother guy creating content, and I get he's a doctor, and you respond. I don't care. I think it's fine. But I understand if you'd be upset by that. I think people always throwing, but why did he pretend not to hear the N-word? I'm like 98% certain he simply did not hear the N-word because his behavior does not make any sense following it. Like, can we just be real? He didn't hear it. And everything we know about him would make us think if he did hear it, he would act differently. Him coming back into the room later and like praising Luke for pushing, like, that makes no sense. It makes no sense. The facial expression stuff, like, come on. I think people are just being dense and being annoying. He would not have reacted that way to me calling it out or to, just directly following that before I called it out. Heisem didn't hear shit. He didn't. I don't know how. I know he has his own hearing problems. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's just he was spacing out for a second. But I think people are a little bit annoying with that. Like, it's not the gotcha that I think other people presume it to be. If that makes sense. That's all. I've just been seeing a lot of it because what happens on Big Brother Twitter is somebody is criticized, rightfully or wrongfully, and then everyone starts criticizing them for stuff that they shouldn't be criticized for. Like, that was not his problem. I think you could argue the way he reacted was was not great once he found out it was said, but yeah. You were there, so I trust you over people on Twitter? No, like, his reaction, when I explained it, he, like, blew up. Like, he would not have had that reaction if he heard it. I promise that. Heisem's still a weirdo regardless. Look, if you want to hate Heisem for X reason, Y reasons, you can hate whoever you want. Just make sure you're hating him for, like, real reasons, not reasons that you're creating to, support your hatred, You also got dubbed over in voting. Yes, that is true. Cory defending Heisem was not on my... I like Heisem. I think Heisem's cool. I think he's a casual. Which, again, like, the worst crime that any BB alum can commit is be a casual. And he's certainly a casual. And you could definitely tell in his in the content that he creates. But I think he provides an interesting perspective. Seemed like he was more mad at you than he was at Luke. I don't think it was that. I think he was very concerned about the ramifications the situation could have on his job, which I think is a little bit misguided, but I understand it. Did Heisem still dislike you after the game? Absolutely not, no. We are on good terms. I've talked to Heisem, not super recently, but he was joking around with my brother. I love Heisem. Nice guy. Thank you, Wheat, for the Prime. I appreciate you. I don't like him using his credentials to psychoanalyze house guests. I get that. I understand that. I think it's fine. In order, who do you want to win BB26? Okay. This is interesting. This is very interesting. Because I have been branded an MJ hater. An MJ hater? What? Me? Here's my order, Cap. Thank you, Will, for the Prime as well. I appreciate you. Look, my number one choice to win Big Brother is Chelsea. I hope Chelsea wins. And if that makes me an evil, horrible Zionist, take it to Twitter. Shut up. You guys are pissing me off on Twitter. Not you guys, but people. Responding to America. So stupid. Number two is MJ. Because while I have so many qualms with the way MJ's played, I think she's had one good week of gameplay all season. She's had moments within weeks, but generally I think she played bad every week except for Janky Week. I think she's played the hardest in the house. I mean, Chelsea, you could say played the hardest, but she was playing from a more dominant position, so she didn't have to, fight as much as MJ did. MJ's Casey. I can't express how much worse of a player MJ is than Casey. Like, they're in different stratospheres as players. And MJ win would be annoying because some of the MJ fans are annoying. But MJ is my number two choice. My number three choice is Cam. Because while Cam is playing super passively, was on the block, didn't campaign, did very little, next to nothing, he is still the third most active player in this Final Five. Simple. The whole season, he was involved in the decision-making. He was around trying to better his position one way or another. I don't know, shit. And then I think number four, I would probably have Chemo, because Rabina and Chemo, I like both of them. I think I'd get along with both of them, but they just have done nothing for weeks. In the later weeks, Rabina's working a lot harder than Chemo, which I appreciate. But Chemo was also the only reason Rabina stayed the week where Rabina was on the block and didn't campaign and only talked about Tucker the whole time. So, I don't know, shit. I think both of them would be just diabolical winners. Chemo's social game is top tier? Absolutely not. No. In no way is Chemo's social game wonderful. He's a very likable dude, which is a good component of your social game. But he does not make the active rounds that a good social game demands. Didn't Chemo gassed out? My theory is he was on the block against Joseph. He was supposed to go home. By the grace of some deity, he stays because of his speech. And then he's like, okay, well, now what? I've done everything I could do. It's very funny. You know how people always talk about a showmance where, Tyler is playing hard until him and Angela got together, and then they just hung out together. Cory was playing really hard, and then him and America. I feel like that's almost what happened with Chemo, Rabina, and T-Core. You know what I mean? What has Chemo done strategically since the Cedric flip? Nothing, but I'm giving him credit for the Cedric flip. That's shit, it's a low bar. But that's what I'm giving him credit for. They got distracted by their friendship. They just got too comfortable around each other, and they stopped caring about what was going on outside. The trio were flops. I mean, look, I think Chemo and T-Core provided a lot of entertainment the first half of the season. I think Rabina is a fun presence in the house and on the show. I think the problem is all of them being on the same season together is kind of tough. You know what I mean? Where they all just get to group up and take up 3 spots in the final 8. I think that's where it starts hurting the season a little bit. Why do you think MJ is a better player than Cam? I do not think that at all. I think Cam is a much better player than MJ. But I think MJ would be a more satisfying, deserving winner. Deserving is a weird word. I don't like to throw around with Big Brother that much. But I'd be happier with an MJ win than a Cam win because MJ's playing a lot harder. I think she's worse, but I think she's playing harder. I'm sorry, that Chelsea MJ conversation scolding Cam about his comp ability, I lost respect for all three of them as players. I'm like, what is this for? MJ tried at least? Yeah, that's basically my feeling. MJ tried. I do not want bad gameplay rewarded. I want bad gameplay rewarded more than no gameplay. And you could argue Cam has a little gameplay. Cam is Bowie Jane. I think Cam is Bowie Jane without the comp wins. Which a lot of times what that does is like the reason why we all think MJ is such a terrible player is because MJ has won power so many times and done such a bad job with that power. If Cam won power, I have no faith he would have done a better job. You know what I mean? Like if Cam won HOH, do you think he's getting Chelsea out? Do you think he would target the tree? He might have targeted Leah too. And it would have been a better move for Cam than it would have been for MJ. But I don't think we should give Cam credit for like not fucking up at the same capacity that MJ did just because he couldn't win and get that power. You know what I mean? Winning comps does not equal more active. Yeah, but what about the stuff outside of winning comps? Did you watch the first half of the game where MJ's running into every room annoying the shit out of people, whereas Cam is on the block, didn't even consider campaigning even though Brooklyn winning would have just evicted him? MJ campaigns her ass off, and she fails campaigning a lot of the time. And she has to win AI Arena, but she campaigns. Cam isn't trying in comps. I don't understand. He's trying. Look, being a big, strong guy gives you a big advantage in a lot of comps, but if you're bad, you're bad. Matt was bad at comps. The comps he won, you know, it's kind of hard. Like, Cam would be good at those too, but those don't exist on this season. When it came to comics, Matt put up a terrible time. When it came to any timed veto, Matt did terribly. Just because you're big and strong doesn't make you good at comps. Sometimes being something else, being like small and weak and slow or whatever, can rule you out of comps. But being fast and strong doesn't automatically make you good. She never gave up. And that's why, like, I had this whole thing, because we're not going to talk about Jag, but people are comparing, saying MJ would be a better win than Jag. And I think it's just such a stupid opinion, because, like, it just makes me so mad when people throw in that he was evicted, because it's like, yeah, but she would have been evicted twice, and Cam could have been, like, Big Brother situation, like, everyone could get evicted at some point. You know what I mean? I think MJ specifically to make that argument was so silly. And it just got me thinking, like, I don't want to come off as an MJ hater. I don't hate MJ. I don't have any problem with MJ. I think she's been a very fun addition to the season. I think she's given us more than basically everyone on this cast. I think it's hard to find things to praise about her game outside of effort and participation. And comps, which is Jag's biggest saving grace, too. Like, she's good at comps. Really good. Granted, 13 minutes in comics. I beat that shit by 2.5 minutes, MJ. What the hell? America beat it by 3 minutes. Jag beat it by 6. What the fuck? Like, y'all, this cast. And I'm sorry. Maybe their comics was harder. That is always possible. We'll wait and see. But at the end of the day, comics is comics. It's not like The Wall, where it drastically changes every season how hard The Wall is. Like, I don't know. I would say, though, comics is like the kind of comp where if you make any mistake, it could get really tricky. If you do it on your first try, you lay out all the comics, you find the differences, you put them in order, it's easy. But once you buzz in and it's wrong, it's really hard to find the mistake. And I think that's when people start, like, changing things that were already right, and then it could spiral. Which is why, like, the physical component is not all that matters. But even so, like, it's not hard to do it right the first time. I only messed up one comic, and I went 11 11. America messed up 0 times, went 10:53. Jag messed up 2 times or 3 times or something and went 8:30. Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Who is Danny. Appreciate both of you. I appreciate it. Thank you all for the subs, of course. The last stream, I didn't get to thank you all adequately. Thank you, Anonymous, if you're here. I appreciate you guys. 2 people could mess up on a comic, but the faster one is obviously going to have a better chance to fix it. They need to revamp the comics veto. Yeah, I mean, the zip line just makes it hard. Here's what they should do. They need to figure out, like, instead of having a ladder, I think they should just have an elevator. Like, you stand there and it lifts you up or something like that. The ladder is just the big, divider. Like, Jag just jumps up the ladder. Felicia probably every time added 15 seconds to her time climbing the ladder. Are you happy you don't have the Elsa Sunday? I'm so happy. Honestly, I was so stressed, but it all worked out. I love the actual comps this season. I thought they were equitable enough. No, comps were perfect. I have no complaints about comps this season. I think they were great. Maybe an easier ladder. They could drop it in its floor level. I mean, I think they like the zip line because you feel like a superhero. I think that part's cool. I enjoy that. Didn't Felicia beat Cam, Rabina, and Chemo's times? That's what makes me a little bit suspicious that maybe comics is a little bit different. Because I just can't imagine they were that bad. But honestly, with Chemo, Rabina, and Cam, maybe. How would you have done in the egg comp? I don't have, like, long fingers at all. I think I would have been pretty bad. Maybe okay. I'm pretty good at the balancing thing, like the path to power. Cam was taking a nap, yeah. A long ramp would be the best. Yeah, but even then, like, you got to figure out a way to do it. I think you should make some sort of, like, elevator device. Just lift. Did Felicia even beat Chelsea? I think Felicia went, like, 18 minutes or something. And, like, Suri was, like, 19. But the point is, like, Matt got 4th on our comics and would have beat MJ's time, I think. Take that for what it is. It's a different comp. I like the suggestion that you should only be able to go back up every so often on a timer. That'd be super cool, yeah. No, that's interesting. Like, there's only certain windows you can do the zipline. Yeah, America played in the Tiny Veto. She was the second best at it. They don't have, like, a runner-up, but she was definitely the second best person. Putting a wait time when you can go back up? Yeah. It's a good idea. Chemo telling Tucker about Quinn's power changed the course of the game. Yeah, it's just tough to watch, like, Chemo and Rabina kind of commiserating about, oh, if only Quinn did this. And it's like, come on, y'all. So there's 2 big questions I want to answer this stream. 2 big questions. The first question is, how would every single winner rank amongst the rest of the winners? Assuming all 5 are still eligible. Chemo looks like he's dead in the water, but let's say Chemo could still win. I was going to do, like, a presentation for it, but I couldn't figure out an artful way to do it. So let me just pull up. Let's pull up a very simple Big Brother all winners list, okay? So I'm literally just on Google. And we just got this classic The Big Brother winners here, okay? I'll zoom in a little bit. Now, this leaves off, I think, Taylor and Jag. So let's go through everyone. Let's start with Rabina. If Rabina wins, let's see who she'd be better than. Would she be better than Evil Dick? I think yes. I think Evil Dick is terrible. I think there's no redeeming quality to Evil Dick. I think his social game's terrible. His strategic game didn't really exist because of Eric. Like, there's nothing to really evaluate. I think he was terrible. I think every single person I'm going to say is better than Evil Dick. I'm not going to count Eddie. They're both worse than she's worse than Will. She's worse than Lisa. She's worse than June. She's worse than Drew. She's worse than Maggie. Worse than Boogie. Do we have a Big Brother 9 expert in the chat? Do we have a Big Brother 9 expert? Is she better than Adam Jussit? I feel like in my gut Adam's better. From what I remember, which is my one-time viewing, I feel like Adam was better. I think Adam had more control, and yeah. Jordan. I think Jordan's probably her closest analog, but I think she's worse than Jordan. I think she's worse than Jordan. I think she's worse than Hayden. I think Rachel is a tough one. I think I would still give it to Rachel. I just think like Rachel again has the effort component and the comp component that MJ just doesn't have. The twists obviously helped Rachel a ton. I get that. But I think I still just give it to Rachel. Rabina's better than Jordan. Can you make the case to me? Can you explain why? I'm talking about Rabina. Who did I say? I was just saying MJ and Rachel I think are similar. Like Rabina I think wasn't active enough. I think Rabina is worse than Ian. I think Ian was active, won comps, had some agency. Not a lot, but some. Worse than Andy, Derek, Steve, Franzel. Josh, I think she'd be the second worst winner of all time. I think I'd have her better than Dick and worse than everyone else. I think I'd say Josh is better. And then obviously everyone else I think is not even close. Casey's better, Jackson's better, Cody's better, X is better, Taylor and Jack. Rachel had a good social game. Was her social game good in 13? I think she had enemies, but she was pretty good with a lot of people. Josh at least had some game sense. That's the thing about Josh. I think ultimately, like, I would bet on someone like Rabina more than someone like Josh, personality-wise, but I think Josh just having a sense of the game helps him out a lot. She's like 22 out of 26. I think she's 25 out of 26. I mean, I'm not counting Eddie, so I think she's 24 out of 25 is what I would do. Josh listened to Paul, which is, I think, better than whatever Rabina did. And I think Chemo, I would probably put... I mean, he might climb one extra spot. I think I might put Chemo over Rachel. But it's only because his 1 week of gameplay. And he's just more likable, and I think But if we're just judging his game, I'd put Rachel better. If it's just evaluating their games, I think Rachel played a better game than Chemo, which is, I think, what we're doing. I think I'd put Chemo and Rabina in the same spot. I think it's hard to push Chemo over Jordan, Rachel, Ian, anyone. Chemo over Josh? I think Chemo over Josh, I'm interested in. I could see that a lot. And I think what separates Chemo from Rabina in my head is that Chemo was more active strategically in the moments that mattered and has a much better social game in general. Like his jury management is actually really good. How active is it? I don't know. But like I think I'd put Chemo over Josh. So I think Chemo would climb for me to 22 out of 25. Or 23 out of 25. I'd have Rabina as the second worst winner. Chemo as the third worst winner. I think his jury chances are a lot better. And that's about all I'll give him. Okay. Now let's move on to Cam. And I think I'd put Cam over Josh, and I think that's it again. I think I put Cam in the same Chemo spot. Is Cam better than Rachel again? I don't know. Cam is Jordan? I mean, I think Jordan had a little bit more agency. I mean, she won comps, I guess, is the only difference. If you guys want to see, I created a little presentation, and I put Jordan... I'm not going to say, whatever. I put Cam's closest analog as Jordan. I think I'd probably put Cam above Josh and Rachel. I think like Josh and Rachel just had such unique circumstances in their game that are very unlikely to pop up again that allowed them to win. Whereas Cam, I could actually see winning a good amount of seasons just because of the type of guy he is. But if you're evaluating this individual game, I think I'd put Josh and Rachel as better than Cam. So again, it kind of depends on what you're saying. Ranking him as a player, I'd have him above these people. As a game, is just he's done so little. And I want to say, if any one of these people cut Chelsea and then win the game, it sends him up spots. What about over Adam? I don't know Adam like that. I could BS and say something. The type of guy he's thought to be? What do you mean? I'm just saying in terms of like he's a social, likable, chill dude. Because Josh is such a inflammatory personality that I think he's more than likely to be an early boot on so many seasons. Rachel, of course, the reason she's iconic is the same reason why her game is probably not super repeatable. Chelsea top 5 winners of all time. We'll talk about it because that's the main event. MJ. Well, shit. I think I'd have MJ. I think I'd have MJ the same spot as Rabina. I think I'd have MJ better than Evil Dick and probably worse than everyone else. I think. Maybe her comp ability pushes her up to like the Rachel spot. I don't think she's better than Jordan. No, I don't think so. MJ's better than Jag. I think that's an insanely stupid opinion that I don't even want to unpack. I think there's no argument at all. But again, I'm rooting for MJ after Chelsea. But I think she's better than Chemo as a winner. I don't think so. I really don't. If she comps out, you could say just because of comps, she's better, and that's a real factor in Big Brother. And her winning comps is more than Chemo doing nothing. I think that's fair. But, I mean, it depends on how MJ wins. For MJ to win, you have to imagine she cuts Chelsea, in which case that gives her a real thing on her resume. You know what I mean? I'd be willing to hear that. Now let's talk about Chelsea. Who's Chelsea better than? Chelsea is better than Evil Dick. Is she better than Dr. Will? No. Is her winning game better than Dr. Will's in season 2? Sure. But she's not better than Dr. Will. She's better than Lisa. I think she's worse than June. But I think June's game is a little overrated, but I think they're close. I think she's better than Drew. I think her closest analog is Maggie. I think that's one that could really go back and forth. Boogie's game, I think, is actually underrated, but I'll say she's better than Boogie, better than Adam, worse than Dan, better than Jordan, worse than Hayden, better than Rachel, better than Ian, worse than Andy, Derek, better than Steve. I have worse than Nicole, and then better than everyone but Cody. So let's just count who's better than her, in my opinion. 1, let's say 2, I'll skip Maggie for now, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think I have her number 9. I think she and Maggie are 9 and 10. I think if you rank her anywhere from 7 to 11, I'd be on board with you. I think anything higher than that is really hard to justify. Like really, really hard to justify. Just because she made so many mistakes and has so many like flaws in her game. And so it made it a fun season, but I think it's hard to argue she's better than half these people. I think June is an interesting one just because June's jury management was really not good. She was just next to Allison, who's even worse. But it's hard rating season 4. It's difficult. She's never been in real danger. I can see top 5. I just can't see top 5 at all. Like, it's a different game. Like, how do you value Derek's game where he just got all the strong white people into an alliance and won all the... I don't know how you'd evaluate that. Like, the game was perfect that he played. Obviously, him doing that is easier than whatever Chelsea's done this season, but like it feels weird to demerit Derek for playing a perfect game. And Chelsea did not play a perfect game. Jag should not be banned in chat. I don't know if someone did that. It shouldn't be. Do you think if Cam wasn't in her season, she plays better? Not necessarily. Her biggest problems as a player, what would she have to do differently? I think strategically, she is extremely messy. She is not good at planting seeds. She's a kind of like a bull moose, like a battering ram when it comes to a lot of these strategic conversations, which is why I think a lot of people compare her to Vanessa. She is very, like, weirdly passive in her strategy sometimes. Her and Brooklyn got into really bad habits together. Everyone was criticizing her the whole season for not scooping up Leah and MJ when it was just handed into her. Leah and MJ, here's your allies who are going to help you go through the game. And she pushed them away until the house flipped on her. And then she recovered, which is impressive. It's a really good thing. But she's kind of the reason it flipped in the first place. And then she very late on pulled an MJ, which ended up being the winning move. But it took her a long time to get to that pretty obvious move. Also, Chelsea above Taylor? Yes. I definitely think so. The other thing is, like, Chelsea... Like, what the fuck happened on the Joseph vote? Does someone have an answer yet? Okay, I'm going to say this one time, Radical, because everyone in my chat's heard me talk about it so much. Literally, everyone on this cast was almost evicted and did nothing to save themselves. Except Chelsea, who's obviously in a different conversation than Jack. MJ was going to be evicted twice and won AI Arenas to bail herself out. Cam was on the block, didn't campaign at all, and would have been evicted if Brooklyn won AI Arena. Rabina didn't campaign at all, and Chemo and T-Core flipped the vote for her while she was just talking about Tucker. And Chemo was going home against Joseph until his eviction speech. Like, if you want to penalize him for that, I get that, but you have to penalize every other winner who should have gone home and didn't due to no help of their own. You know what I mean? Getting rid of Joseph was a great move for Chelsea. 100%. It was a great move for her. Why did it happen on the live show after Chemo's speech? She flipped because she thought MJ and Leah flipped. Like, that's insane. Like, what the fuck is that? What happened? Like, it doesn't make sense. Where do you rank Jag in winner? He's probably the 21st best winner. Probably better than, like, Rachel. He's similar to Ian. Better than Evil Dick. Like, he's not very good. Her winning AI Arena isn't her own doing. Yeah, she won AI Arena, and that is her own doing. Her comp ability is one of her biggest benefits. Of course, she was 1 second away to losing to Rabina, which she would have been evicted, but she did win. But also, it was Jag who got Matt to use the power on him. So, like, you can give credit however you want. It's fine. The fact that there was a power at all that week is very fortunate for Jag, of course. But she had to do it twice, mind you. Where would Matt have ranked among winners? I think Matt would have been, like, around Drew, Daniel tier. Like, 16, 15, 16, something like that. But I think people would have overrated him a lot. Because if he won, he wouldn't have had the massive issues we saw on finale night. That I think are a lot of why people doubt him. Or rate him lower than they would otherwise now. It's okay, Radical. I just don't want to make the rest of my chat, hear it again. Or would Angela have ranked among your winners? I think I would have Angela worse than Evil Dick. I think I'd have her worse than Evil Dick. Maybe I'd have her above Evil Dick and below everyone else just on principle, because I hate Evil Dick as a person. But yeah, she was terrible. I'm a big fan. I think she's great. I think AFP, I'm going to vote for either her or Quinn. But, come on. You stand by your jury vote gameplay-wise? Yeah. Sure. Matt lost my jury vote. That was an active, like, he actively made decisions that made him lose my jury vote. Steve being an underrated winner. I don't think he's underrated anymore. I think he's properly rated. I think a lot of people who just like are very casual about the show and these rankings and stuff would have like Ian above Steve, and those people are definitely underrating him. But I think generally people have the right idea of Steve at this point. He's like better than all the winners who didn't control the game the whole time, but he's worse than all the winners who did control the game. Is there anybody else in this cast who would have ranked above like 24th? It's hard because you have to project super hard, but like if T-Core won, I think like she wouldn't be any different as a player, but it'd be like, how the fuck did she do it? You'd have to rank her higher because she was like a cult leader to a certain degree. So if she somehow made a path where she won, you kind of have to credit them. I don't know how the fuck Quinn would have gotten to the end, but he would have probably been like a better version of MJ, I guess. But he would never have done it. Like, if Brooklyn won, I'm sure she'd be higher than a lot of these people, but why so low on Ian? It's just, he was a comp beast who comped his way to the end. I think that's why he won. He had like very little agency in the game. But, you know, again, he was very active strategically. I like Ian a lot. Where would Lisa rank? I don't know. Lisa's probably like, again, like 15, 16th. I think Lisa's probably the most overrated winner, in my opinion. I think that feels right to me. And I do give Ian like a bit of grace because he was playing against Dan. I played against Surrey. I get it. It's hard. So like, I don't think Dan snowing Ian, I don't criticize Ian too much for that. About Boogie, I think Boogie's winning game was really good. I think his other two showings, I don't even care about Big Brother 2, and 14 was a fucking mess. But I think I'd have Boogie, like, his winning game would actually be, just writing the games, I'd rank it, like, I don't know, 13th. I think it's pretty good. BB7 to rewatch soon. We're back on schedule. It's been super chaotic, but podcast today, it's already recorded. And, yeah, more stuff. My top 5 winners. It's Derek, Cody, Will, Dan, Andy in some order. Dan's first, easily. I think I'd probably have Andy second. Then, like, Cody, Derek, Will. Probably. Such a shame Boogie's such a bad guy. As a character on the show, he's great. I think he's actually a better character than I remember. He's a fun personality in the DR. Did I miss the rankings? Yeah, we're still just talking about it. It wasn't anything super formal, Rune. Cody and Derek above Will is crazy. I just struggle with Will because Big Brother 2 I just don't value that much. I'm basically just judging his BB7 game. Where would Tyler and Vanessa rank? I think Tyler would be next to Andy for me. Winning game-wise, I think it'd probably be the best winning game of all time if Tyler won. And I think Vanessa would probably be next to Dan. I think she's a little worse socially and things could have gone wrong for her, so maybe I'd put her like... But I think if Tyler won, he would have played the best game of all time. I think Vanessa would have been a top 5 game. But again, Vanessa put herself in a spot. Like, I think the mark of a really good winner, like the Legends, is you put yourself in a Final 3 where you can't lose. Vanessa was in a Final 3 where she could lose. So if she, like, somehow survived that HOH, won the comp and voted out Steve or whoever, or just voted out anyone and then won, I would still hold against her that she had a 50-50 shot of losing. Which is not the case for Derek or Dan, Cody, Where'd I rank Paul? BB 18 or 19? I assume you're saying 19. If Paul won 19, I think you'd rate it like Derek. It'd be like a Derek Lavasser winning game. I think you'd rank it worse though. I think it'd be like the fifth or sixth best winning game because it's against all newbies and they had a ton of advantages coming in. But the 19 game is like it's as dominant as any game ever, like Cody and Derek style dominant, but just didn't have a fair level of competition. So like Paul in 18 would be much worse. Paul in 18 I would rank similar to like fuck. I mean, it'd be worse than Steve, worse than Casey probably. I don't know, maybe be around Casey. Paul, I don't think Paul's game in 18 was very good. Do you think MJ's good enough to cut Chelsea? No. Because I think she's going to start rationalizing in her head, I don't think I can even beat Cam. So she's going to be like, oh my god, I can't lose to Cam. I think like you rationalize in your head who you want to bring to the end. She wants to bring Chelsea. She's going to be like, actually, I could beat Chelsea and Cam. She's already started doing the math of like, oh, Cam's going to go in front of the jury and said I threw all these competitions to make people. You could already see the process starting. Do you review Rabina kind of like Jordan? I think Jordan's a lot better. I think Jordan was playing more actively. Also much better at comps. Jordan was winning a ton of shit. She also wins the final HOH and cuts Kevin. She got close to not cutting Kevin. Or actually, no, it was the opposite. Kevin got close to not cutting Jordan, right? Yeah, no, I think Chelsea's been doing a good job with that. Her to win Final Four HOH for things to get spicy with the veto. I don't think it's that spicy, right? Like MJ would evict Cam and Cam would evict MJ. Chelsea would probably evict. Who would Chelsea evict? Is the idea right now Chelsea would evict Cam? I think she'd evict Cam because she'd be worried about Cam and MJ. I think Chelsea would evict Cam. Okay, can somebody explain to me why they're not voting out Rabina here? If they're so worried about Cam and Rabina, can't we nip this thing in the butt? They think Cam and Chemo are going to run this thing? Because Chemo won veto, the double eviction veto. That's their argument. Better at the comps. I think Rabina's better, right? They believe Rabina's going to go to the 3 with them. She might. I think she might. Here's what I'll say. Let's forget about Final Four HOH. If Rabina wins the veto and could evict one of MJ, Cam, or Chelsea, does she just get rid of Cam? Or does she get rid of MJ? I think Rabina would be the favorite to win the endurance comp. Yeah. You think she evicts Chelsea? One of MJ or Cam Chelsea? She's just listed all of them. Are we expecting the picture days comp for veto? Yeah, it'll be some days comp. Who's been studying? MJ and Chelsea? Is that it? Chelsea and Cam? Good for Chelsea. I hope Chelsea wins it. MJ a little. I just don't think people understand, like, the Final Four veto is days. It's going to be a days comp. I don't like the days comp. I think the days comp should be its own thing. I wish for Final Four veto they went back to the big web where you have all the house guest faces and you have to like figure out who fits in what spot. That's what I liked. Who from this cast do you think will be asked to play again? Chelsea and Tucker, I think is it. Yeah. Chelsea and Tucker, the only ones. I think Chelsea would probably become like a pseudo legend of the game in the same way Taylor did, right? She's like a modern legend. Angela, I don't think they would ask Angela again. I think they've had problems with Angela. They had to cut the feeds a ton with Angela, and I think she's just like, I think she's a one-time player. You know what I mean? I think Quinn is on the board, but there's a lot of people in that archetype. I think they'd ask Quinn before me. Quinn had like 50 extra confessionals to me with less episodes. Like, they love Quinn. And I think he'd be a good person to call because he creates chaotic gameplay, but I don't think I would expect him not to get a call. They seem to love Leah. I don't know if they'd ask Leah. I really don't think Leah would get a call. You had Suri. Yeah, I mean, my season's confessional counts were silly. I think I was the sixth most on my cast. I think Suri had more, Felicia had more, Jag, Matt barely had more, and Cam. Then I think I had more than everyone else. So like, I think I got a very proportional edit to my impact in the season. I think I was under edited in the first half, over edited in the middle, and then under edited in the. I think I was edited fine in the second half. Honestly, I think I got a fine edit. Who gets the call first, Leah or America? Leah. I don't think they're calling America. I don't think they liked America. I think they had a lot of fun with her. I think that the production likes her, but I don't think they want someone to go into the house and talk about the problems with different house guests. You know what I mean? I just think, I think the way they attribute blame is unfortunate. Do you think they do reindeer games again? If they do reindeer games again, do you think they'd see it as that's how they do All Stars? Maybe. I think they'd still do an All Star season at some point. Probably 30. MJ for the challenge? Yeah, she's perfect for that. Look, I'd also be fine with MJ coming back. I like MJ as a player. I think she's super fun, plays really hard. If you're asking me who I'd want back, I think MJ'd be fun, Quinn would be fun. Tucker, I think, is fun, but I fear he would just lean further into that character. You know what I mean? And of course, I would love to see Chelsea play again. I think anytime we get one of the better players to play and we get to see more data, I love that. Okay, let's talk about this. Okay, let me. I see someone in the chat mentioned it. I'm down to dive into this debate. So here we are, the Diary Room, hosted by Matt Ligori and Amon Adwin. Great guys. I was on this podcast. And Kirsten was the guest. 3-judge panel. They rank 2 players against each other. America was drawn against Angela Rummins. Now let me run a poll before I share my opinion. Who do you think is the better Big Brother player? Angela Rummins, America Lopez. Are the answers public? Not the specific answers. So right now it's 51% America, 49% Angela. It's right around 50-50. And I think that tells you all you need to know. If it's 50-50 in Cory Wurtenberger's chat, that's tough. You know what I mean? I think based on their resumes, it's almost impossible to argue America's better. I think there's a lot of reasons why you could say on another season I'd bet on America. I think America's got a better skill set, putting aside comps. With equitable comps, I would bet on America, of course. I just think, like, America had a really rough draw with this cast, with like a Jared and a Cam and a Matt, and she never was able to get her footing, whereas Angela had a really soft landing spot with level 6 just being all the hot, pretty people, and she just was in that alliance and never looked back and won a ton of comps. She won 3 HOHs, 2 vetoes. And that's probably the main reason you have to pick Angela, just because she's a better competition person. But I do get the America argument. I'd bet on America, obviously. But I think it's a hard one. It's a hard one to justify. If America had a better cast for her and spills less info, she has a great shot. Sure. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Big Brother's easy to play from a good position, hard to play from a bad position. Angela was always in a good position, and America was always in a bad position. So, I think that kind of... Who won on the podcast? They voted America. Matt and Kirsten were America votes, and Amon voted for Angela. Which, again, thank God for Kirsten on the panel. And I think the argument of, like, Angela can never win a jury vote, I get that. I don't think America was in a good position jury-wise, but again, you attribute that to the cast. Could Angela never win a jury vote? I don't know if that's true. She wasn't, like, hateable. People weren't a big fan of her. She was the GOAT on her season, but I think America could have turned into that, depending on, who's left. I beat Nikki Uhas. That was a more straightforward one. Would you have voted Angela on the panel? No. Chance to progress in the diary room bracket? I wouldn't deprive America of that. I disagree so much, Edward. I think her ratting out Heisem put her in the best position she was in all season. That's when, like, Izzy and Suri were trusting her for a minute. And, for real formed right after that. And that was the real alliance for a minute. And then everything went on. Everything fell off. But I think that was the best spot she was in all season. Unless maybe right after the double eviction. Before the comps, did what they did. But I think her best week of gameplay was my best week of gameplay. Honestly, I think you could say her best week of gameplay also was probably the week I was evicted. The week after I was evicted, I mean. She did her job. She stayed over blue. She had a mission. She accomplished her mission. But America and I were arguing. We couldn't remember something. Who, in the final 7 veto, it was called Embarrassing Expedition. Jag won. Shocking. Who was second and third? I thought Bowie was second, but she said Blue was second. What's right? Did Blue get second? Blue was second? Okay. She was right. I thought it was Bowie. It was Blue and then Bowie, right? Okay. Anyways. No, I would put America and Angela as better than Angela Murray. I think Angela Rummans is definitely the best Big Brother Angela as a player. As casting, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Which comp was that? It was like they had to place the pictures in order to tell a story. Pre-juries, yeah. I hate how they only show top 3 times. Yeah, it's lame. You know why? Because I think they were just trying to hide the mat time for twisted tasks, and then they're like, all right, well, we got to commit to this now. The whole body out of Mimi thing, I never even picked up. I didn't even know that was from Embarrassing Expedition. I thought it was just a thing Blue said. Was it obvious to you guys in the house that's why they did it? Absolutely. We were talking about it all the time, and I'm sure they cut the feeds every time. They had to talk to us over the intercom, like Garodner, to be like, hey guys, it actually was equitable, and here's why. And then Jag, which I think, again, Jag has his really good moments, was like really adamant, like, hey, we're all going to sit out the next competition if it's not fair. Which is good. You should stand up for people in that spot. What do you think his time was? I don't know. I'm sure he got last. How was it talking to Joseph yesterday? How do you guys even know these things? But it was great. Yeah, I like Joseph a lot. We're definitely on the same wavelength talking about game. America. You guys know everything. Good for Jack. Jack's name is not censored in my chat, right? Okay, good. You guys are just being annoying. Because someone said it earlier. It is. Moss can say it. Get rid of... unblock Jag's name. It seems like I have beef with Jag. I don't have any beef with Jag. Fix it. Let's run a poll. No, I'll just take away your mod chip, Katie. Unblock it. It's annoying. It wasn't even me. You guys are a hive mind. I don't know how to unblock, sorry. Oh, look, Ned. My favorite mod, Ned, who pops in every 6 years. Oh, God, I hate clicking Twitter links, especially from Steel Cage. Oh, it's AMA. Should I do an AMA? What do you guys think? Think it'd be fun? I thought this was an AMA. Yeah, like a Big Brother Reddit AMA. 6 years. I was here last stream. Shut up, Ned. Ned, how do you feel about Melbourne beating Sydney in the championship? Let's have the little Australian-American football corner. I was rooting for Swannies, but they buckled under pressure. Fuck Melbourne. That's what I'm saying. Why did America and Blue vote for Matt? They didn't. Blue and America were always going to vote for Jag, as far as I understand. Blue came into the jury house thinking Matt was like a coward and Jag was the best player. America just liked Jag more than Matt. I was the only one whose vote, I think, flipped because of the combined messages and stuff. Brisbane beat Sydney. Fuck. You're right. So that's about it. I'm gonna let you guys go. Quick hour-long stream. No stream tomorrow because I'm doing the Charlie XCX concert tomorrow night. I'm doing a live feed update tomorrow morning with Taryn, which will probably be 20 minutes. No player rankings. No, I was gonna make them. You guys can say hi to the boys. Pod will be out probably in an hour. I just gotta edit it. It's all done. But I just didn't think it was worth the time. It's not that interesting. Like, my rankings right now would be Chelsea number 1, Chemo number 5. I think I'd probably go like Chelsea, Cam, MJ, Rabina, Chemo. Cam and MJ I could flip, but there, like, it'd be Chelsea would be the only one on the power rankings, and the other 4 would be on the chopping block. Thursday watch along and stream. Yeah, we'll do the Patreon thing, as per usual. The one thing I do want to plug very quickly, because we are running out of tickets, and I don't mean this as like a marketing tactic, so you guys act quick and buy the tickets. Like, we are running out, so if any of you guys want to go, we've got 20 tickets remaining. I don't know why I'm using this one. Me, Bowie, and America hosting a watch party in Nashville. Some other guests from Survivor that I can't talk about. Red's coming out. It should be fun. $20 a ticket. I think it's pretty cheap as far as watch parties go. So if you're in the Nashville area, I would recommend you get that as quickly as possible. You can just go to Bowie's Twitter. You'll find it there. I think America posted it on her Instagram. Dawn is coming, yes, but there's some Survivor people too. Zach will not be there. My parents might, though. Did your test get moved? Yes. Yes, it did. So, if you're interested, the tickets, we have 150 spots, 130 tickets are sold. There'll be some custom merch there. So if you're interested, check it out. That's it. Why can't you mention the Survivor players? I'm not announcing anyone until it's official, and I get the okay that I can announce them. Halloween costume stream when? Okay, let's plan that out. So today is Tuesday. Let's plan on doing the Halloween costume stream on Saturday. So what that is, America and I will be looking through costumes, couples costumes that you guys submit, buying the ones we like, and then a future stream we'll do a fashion show of those costumes. Got it? Saturday, we are doing the costume stream, so I want you guys to get those costumes ready if you're interested. That's about it. I appreciate all of you. We're back to a normal streaming schedule every other day, probably a little bit more than that. Live feed update tomorrow with Taryn at 10 a.m. Eastern, or 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. And